Hello everyone and welcome to a quick overview of Bythos as it currently is in the Unreal 4 engine. To start with, I'm going to demonstrate what I currently have in the game by simply clicking here. You'll see this is the basic character from the top-down basic settings in Unreal 4. If I walk into this little area here, which has a touch volume, I can start the combat. On combat, these three characters are spawned. This is actually your character, who is in Team 0. You can see his stats. He has a basic fire resistance, water resistance, earth resistance, an intelligence of 15 and a strength of 10. That basically means that his spells are stronger than his basic attacks. And his health is still 100 out of 100. Same goes for the other characters, but the biggest difference is that they are, of course, on Team 1, which is a different team. These two are AI. They are randomly going to select one of the skills they have available and use it on one of the team members that is not on their team. For me, you can see I'm actually currently in skill select, so this means that the current combat loop is frozen until I select something and select the target for it. So I'm going to do a physical hit on one of these two test characters. Let's see, click the first one. And you can see his health actually dropped from 90 to 100. Now we can continue this simply clicking and clicking. And you'll see that actually on the top left corner, my character is being attacked as well. And he actually dropped down to 48 out of 100 health. Let's do a fire hit. The fire hit actually takes longer to charge. It has a longer casting time and a longer recovery time, but it does more damage and is obviously a fire-based skill, which means that it scales off my intelligence. It took off a bigger chunk of the other test character's health. Like this one took 2 physical hits, this one took 1 fire hit, which was obviously a lot more in damage. We can just continue this until my character dies, in which I'm going to switch out of combat. And if I would want to, I can simply re-enter combat, but this is not relevant. So let's see what happens behind the scenes. First of all, you have the skills. Every skill is basically designed in Blueprint. I have provided several functions that can be used to create a custom set of skills with custom sets of damage and custom amounts of damage. As we see here, you cast a skill. This is an event. This is just the text that's being printed to the screen in the top left corner. And you loop over every target. You calculate the damage for that target. This is basically the raw damage. If you have a strength of 10 and a multiplier of 2, for example, when you do the physical skill, you're going to do 20 damage raw. And then you send that through to the target. The target will reduce the damage that is left and take the damage that is left. After that, you're just going to return. The other skill is a bit different. As you can see, I actually assigned an elemental type as a value and use the damage, which is basically just an easier way to handle things in several different types of stuff. But this skill is actually a fire skill instead, and it will send the damage to same like the last skill. Next up is actually the interface, which I took a lot of work to create. Well, a lot of work, a lot more complex work than I expected. On the start of the combat, you're going to generate a list of scrollable buttons on the right side of the screen. When you enter skill select, you're going to fill all those buttons with all relevant skill buttons based on their name, and you're actually going to set the skill value in the button itself. Same goes for target select, where you are going to add all of the buttons to that same list, clearing the previous buttons and setting the target values for each button. On exit combat, you're just going to clear that away, of course. And inside that button itself is the, let's see, the UMG, for example, the skill button. If you go to the on-clicked event, you're just going to see that set skill is being called on the gameplay director's active combat character, so the current character that is controlled by the player, and the assigned skill, which has been passed when we made the list, is also passed This was actually quite the revelation. I thought it was very useful for creating a proper UI and actually using it. So yeah, the biggest benefit of all this is that by creating simply a set of custom functions inside code, I can allow my artists or my designers or whatever you wish to call them to create their own skill sets and create their own skill types and allow them to edit them without any problem. I don't have to code what an actual fireball is, or I don't have to code what a basic physical hit is. They can just create one in Blueprint, and it allows me a lot more time for bug fixing, for creating other useful types of functions. For example, if I wanted to, like next up for me, for example, is to create buffs and debuffs. This is going to use the same principle. We're just going to run a timer, and they can see what they're going to fill in every time that timer ticks. Like every second, for example, you want to heal your own character for 20 points of health, they can just override one of the events and heal themselves every second. So yeah, that's the general gist of everything I have for Bythos at the moment. It might not look like much, but it took me quite some work, especially because it's a new engine for me. I hope you thought this was somewhat clarifying, so thank you for watching.